Once upon a time, nestled in a fertile valley, there lay a small, bustling city named Zareth. It was not grand in size, but its people were content, living modestly and thriving through trade and the bounty of the land. Zareth was surrounded by lush fields, clear rivers, and high mountains, which made it a coveted prize for kingdoms seeking expansion. One fateful day, the peace of Zareth was shattered. A great king from a neighboring empire, with his vast army and towering siege machines, descended upon the city. His intent was clear: to conquer Zareth and claim its fertile lands. The city's modest walls, built more for tradition than for defense, were no match for the king's imposing bulwarks. The people of Zareth trembled as they watched the enemy construct massive siege towers and battering rams, preparing for an inevitable invasion. The city's leaders convened in a desperate council, but they were merchants, farmers, and artisans, not warriors. Their hearts were heavy with despair, for they knew they could not withstand the might of the great king's army. As hope began to wane, word spread of a peculiar old man living on the outskirts of the city. He was poor, his home a ramshackle hut, but he was known for his wisdom. His name was Simeon. Reluctantly, the council summoned Simeon, clad in tattered robes and leaning on a crooked staff. The poor wise man entered the council chamber. The leaders scoffed at his appearance, but Simeon's eyes burned with a sharp intelligence that commanded their attention. "I have heard of your plight," he said in a calm, measured voice. "If you will heed my counsel, the city may yet be saved." Though skeptical, the council had no better options. They agreed to listen. Simeon surveyed the city and the enemy encampment for hours. Then he devised a plan, a strategy so audacious that the council hesitated. Yet, with no alternatives, they placed their faith in the old man. Under the cover of night, the people of Zareth worked tirelessly. Guided by Simeon's instructions, they diverted the river that flowed near the city, flooding the plains where the enemy army was camped. The water turned the ground to mud, rendering the siege machines immobile and cutting off the soldiers' supplies. As chaos erupted in the enemy camp, the people of Zareth launched a surprise attack, using their intimate knowledge of the terrain to outmaneuver the disoriented invaders. By dawn, the great king's army was in disarray. Realizing his campaign was doomed, the king ordered a retreat, leaving Zareth unscathed. The city erupted in celebration, and the people praised Simeon for his wisdom and bravery. But as the days turned to weeks, the memory of Simeon's deeds began to fade. The city's leaders took credit for the victory, embellishing their roles in the story. Simeon returned to his humble hut, content with the knowledge that he had done his part, even if no one would remember him. Years later, the people of Zareth would recount the tale of their miraculous deliverance, but Simeon's name was rarely mentioned, and when it was spoken of as if he were a mere myth. Yet in his solitude, Simeon smiled, for he knew that true wisdom seeks no reward, and that the mark of a noble act lies not in recognition, but in its impact on the lives of others.